Good afternoon and welcome to Match of the Day for a stirring FA Cup semi-final between Manchester United and Arsenal, which should not be missed.
And turned over brilliantly by George Wood.
And with an embarrassment of riches, that's followed by one of the most exciting games we've seen all season between Southampton and Liverpool.
Wallace is onside, faced by Grobbelaar, goes past him, but there's cover there. And it was Alan Hansen who got back.
Strong opposition is mounting against the planned merger between Oxford United and Reading, who would combine to form a new club called Thames Valley Royals. Supporters of both clubs say they'll fight the plan. And the world champions Italy are now in danger of failing to qualify for the final stages of the European Championship. They're almost certain not to qualify after they were beaten in Romania with the only goal of the game by Bologna.
If you had to select the perfect FA Cup semi-final, a fixture between Manchester United and Arsenal would be a leading contender. It's North v South, both clubs of powerful tradition and bulging trophy cabinets. And if anyone thought that a famous missing face or two would dampen the occasion yesterday, they were in for a big surprise. Your commentator at Villa Park, John Watson.
When it comes to FA Cup semi-finals, the Arsenal fans rightly regard their club as specialists. Since 1930, when they first won the Cup, Arsenal have played 19 semi-final matches and replays, winning 10, drawing 8 and losing just 1. And 7 of those games have been here at Villa Park. While Manchester United could have sold their 20,000 tickets 3 times over, and their supporters, who were at Wembley just 3 weeks ago, will point out that the Milk Cup final defeat by Liverpool is only one of 2 matches United have lost out of 21 since the turn of the year, and they've yet to concede a goal in the FA Cup this season. Both teams are weakened by injury, and only 8 of the 24 players on duty have appeared in an FA Cup semi-final before. Arsenal are without Pat Jennings, Peter Nicholas and Alan Sunderland, so George Wood continues in goal. John Hollins returns at right back wearing 6, Stuart Robson is thrust into midfield, and Graham Rix partners Tony Woodcock up front. The good news, David O'Leary plays at centre-half. And United's number 5, Kevin Moran, is also back after injury. They're without wide players Steve Coppell and Arnold Muren, so Ashley Grimes plays his first FA Cup tie for 4 years and may be taking penalties, while Remy Moses, booked in both Milk Cup semi-finals against Arsenal, will operate on the right. And there are those who believe that referee Keith Hackett, who took charge of the centenary final in 1981, will have a fiercely contested battle on his hands today. Terry Neal and Don Howe, so experienced on this type of occasion. Arsenal reached the final, remember, in 1978, 79 and 80. Arsenal keep their normal colours. The red shirts with the white sleeves, playing from the left. A beautiful afternoon, and the Villa Park pitch in excellent condition, the best for many years. That was White in hard on Stapleton, and O'Leary on Whiteside. Robson was fouled. Brian Robson checked by Brian Talbot. The first foul of the match. 2 Robsons on the pitch, remember. Brian Robson of United, Stuart Robson of Arsenal. Sansom away. And United press with Duxbury. The linesman flagged for a foul. The referee said no. Stuart Robson for Arsenal. Rix. Sansom. Rix. Moses. Well, this time the free kick is given. Although earlier Duxbury felt he was shoved. United now with Gordon McQueen. Oh, good ball. Right side, outside him, Ashley Grimes. Low in, and Moses came in, but no. Referee spotted the linesman's flag up as the ball was played wide to Ashley Grimes. There was an offside on the left wing, so what happened afterwards didn't matter, although Remy Moses put the ball in the net. That was Grimes. Whiteside having a good first half. And Petrovic getting the tackle in. That'll please the Arsenal a bit. Here's Orbiston. Whiteside to Grimes. And Moses came in and it was loose. George Wood couldn't claim it. Kenny Sansom rescued him. Those driven crosses by Manchester United are causing George Wood some concern. Here's White. Grimes. Oh, Whiteside went over O'Leary's head. And Whiteside to Brian Robson. A mistake by David O'Leary, let in Norman Whiteside. He had the intelligence to play the short ball to Brian Robson. His right foot not his best, but it still made George Wood scramble to gather at the second attempt. Here's Petrovic. In goes Wilkins. Determination and a resolution about Arsenal when it comes to cup matches, irrespective of what sort of season they've had. Ten minutes left in the first half. Away by McQueen. It's a good ball by John Hollins to Ricks. Robson is again well forward for Arsenal, and Bailey comes to meet him. And here comes Petrovic, and Robson's in there, and so is Woodcock. Petrovic goes to the line, he pulls it back, Bailey's dropped it, in by Robson, and Woodcock, yes, he will surely claim he got the touch before it crossed. And Arsenal are in front after 36 minutes, and cup football's so unpredictable. Manchester United had the better of things, but Gary Bailey will be sad about what happened there on his near post. And the Yugoslav Petrovic, who played an important part in the quarter-final, has played a part too in the opening goal in the semi. Tony Woodcock will claim his 21st goal of the season. And he's playing in an FA Cup semi-final for the first time, but he will acknowledge the contribution too of Vladimir Petrovic and also of 18-year-old Stuart Robson. Woodcock, Stuart Robson on the charge. Those forward thrusts of Stuart Robson have ended now with an injury. But it's United on the attack, with Brian Robson finding Orbiston. And Stapleton's over on the far side, but so is Kenny Sansom. Meantime, at the other end of the field, Arsenal's Stuart Robson is hurt. Having charged forward again to support the attack, he seems to have taken a blow on the right leg. Arsenal have just got Lee Chapman stretching in case he's needed. For the moment, Stuart Robson, the youngest player in the Arsenal team, at 18, hobbles back into action. It's a corner to Manchester United at the other end, and there's danger here. Robson came in, and so did McQueen, and that was a good piece of defending by Paul Davis, who got himself right in the middle there to help White. These in-swingers from Ashley Grimes. away this time by Ricks. Two minutes left in the first half. Moses, white side. Wilkins let the ball run. Brian Robson on his left foot. It might have even rebounded to Wilkins, that. Albiston. And now a run which was cut out by Talbot. Moses going in with the tackle on White. That was a little late and spotted by the referee, who talks to Remy Moses. Stuart Robson seems to me to have taken quite a bad knock. He's standing out on the left wing and he's certainly not fully mobile, and Arsenal may have to rearrange. They'll try and hang on now for the half-time whistle, obviously. And Arsenal lead at half-time. Tony Woodcock the scorer. But who would have thought that after keeping clean sheets in the previous rounds, Gary Bailey would have dropped the ball for Manchester United to concede their first FA Cup goal. But look at Stuart Robson. He laid it on for Woodcock, but he goes off at half-time on the shoulders of manager Terry Neal. It would look from that picture as though Arsenal will have to reorganise. Stuart Robson, 18 years old, hurt while supporting the attack. And the Arsenal dressing room, whilst buoyant on the one hand, will be busy on the other, while Manchester United must wonder how they could have had more possession, yet still gone in a goal down. So Lee Chapman on for Arsenal at the beginning of the second half as substitute for Stuart Robson, who turned his ankle in that collision with Arthur Albiston. Chapman was out of the game for 3 months with injury and loss of form, but returned last week as sub, and he's on again now as a striker, obviously, with Graham Ricks surely reverting to midfield. So Arsenal's injury list grows, but they do have the one-goal lead, which Manchester United, playing now from the left, and themselves, remember, under strength today, have got to try to cancel out. Grimes. Brian Robson. Manchester United without the penetration on the right of Koppel, without the subtlety on the left of Muren, have got to find other ways of prizing Arsenal apart. Meantime, it's Paul Davis, shoved by Brian Robson, right underneath the referee's nose. Here's Sansom. Stapleton. Free kick. Foul given against Chris White. Wilkins to take, and offside against Norman Whiteside. This is where Manchester United may get frustrated. Arsenal, whose morale is now high, are adept at keeping a very good shape in defence. Grimes. Albiston making a run forward down the left. Here comes Brian Robson. He's in with a chance! Yes! The Manchester United captain has equalised. 5 minutes into the second half. A well-taken goal as the play developed down the left. Brian Robson made his run across the penalty area, evaded the challenge, and with his left foot wide of George Wood's left hand. For Robson, who only came back into the side last week, it's his second goal in 2 matches. He scored against Southampton and now takes his total for the season to 12. But more important, puts this semi-final back on the boil. He really read the ball from Ashley Grimes. And as Brian Talbot tried to cover, Robson hit it first time, and it's 1-1. Here he is again, Robson. Stapleton. Number 10, Whiteside. And a chance for Robson again. Good save by George Wood. Very brave. And Robson's challenge illegal. Whiteside in the build-up. Robson trying to get a foot to the loose ball, and he caught George Wood when the Arsenal goalkeeper had collected. But just listen now to the fans of Manchester United. Header by Talbot to Ricks. And here's Sansom. Chapman was calling on the far side of the area, but Sansom wanting to measure it more. Talbot. That was Chapman. And it's good build-up. Hollins, or it was. Wilkins. Oh, it might still be for Arsenal. Woodcock. Petrovic, who supplied the pass, now finds Ricks. Duxbury missed it. There are three waiting to come in from the far side. And it's low in there, force. Petrovic, who came to the near post. And so close, he thought it was a corner. As Ricks drove in one of those cunning balls from the left. Grimes. Out to the left is Whiteside. In the middle is Stapleton. And he couldn't find either. And Arsenal packing their ranks. But here come United again. Ray Wilkins. Albiston. Wilkins once more. Stapleton, near post, sets it up. And driven right across. And Norman Whiteside seems to be involved in nearly everything. That was forward by Wilkins. Sansom couldn't reach it. Whiteside could. And Grimes completely went over the ball. Albiston. Ashley Grimes took a swing, but he missed the ball completely. Manchester United, though, forcing a corner which he will take. The line-up from the near post: Whiteside, McQueen, Stapleton. Two others to come in. One of them was Brian Robson, and turned over brilliantly by George Wood from Robson's header. Johnny Hollins on the post, but it was Wood's tip over that saved Arsenal. Corner again, Wilkins. McQueen comes near post, and Petrovic half away. What a good save by the Arsenal keeper. Davis have to come back to Ricks as they search for positions up front, and John Hollins links up. Sliced a bit that Moran. Sansom. Chapman's there. So too now is Hollins. Petrovic is wide, so is Talbot. Petrovic. Away this time by McQueen. And a drive by Hollins. Right side and O'Leary, that's getting a little bit nasty. And the referee has penalised David O'Leary. He was unhappy about that. Free kick to Manchester United. Grimes. Oh, Grimes is onside, and so is Whiteside here. Oh, I say! It's amazing! It's absolutely fantastic what Whiteside has achieved. He's put Manchester United in front. Only 3 weeks after scoring at Wembley in the Milk Cup final, he's restored the pride to Old Trafford. They've come from behind. Arthur Augustin forward, and Norman Whiteside saw his opportunity. He came from an inside left position. Onside, said the linesman. The volley with his left foot, absolutely perfect. And he's not 18 years old until May the 7th. And the goal has come 20 minutes from the end of the semi. Manchester United, a goal up at Wembley, lost 2-1 to Liverpool. A goal down here, now lead 2-1 against Arsenal. What a finish by Norman Whiteside. Are Manchester United on their way to Wembley again? Moses, Wilkins. Oh, well played by Manchester United, and Whiteside's off again. He's got help from Arthur Augustin, but they need others forward now. Here comes Grimes. But one thing must be said, that if you look at the match overall, Manchester United have played the more controlled and more progressive football. They've created more in Arsenal's danger area than Arsenal have managed at the other end. And with the courage of players like Kevin Moran, they're determined to hold on to their lead. And that was McQueen. Hollins down the line, a good ball. Graham Ricks. There are three waiting in the centre here for Arsenal. And Chapman's one of them, and so too is Woodcock, who might have made more of that. Tony Woodcock not as strong on the right foot as he is on the left. And for an England striker, you might have expected him to have tested Gary Bailey rather better. And Stapleton is offside. There are less than 10 minutes to go. Manchester United lead by 2-1, and Tony Woodcock, who at one stage put United behind, could well have levelled things again there. Grimes has got Robson and Whiteside to his left. Robson's got to be careful not to go offside. Grimes has gone alone, and the tackle coming in from John Hollins. So Grimes will now take the corner. McQueen has stayed back, but Moran is up. And off Moran's head, he got another awful crack there in the face. Put back in by Wilkins, and off the head of White. It's going to come to Ashley Grimes to drive one, and goodness me, Stapleton almost got a header to it. And Kevin Moran is in a terrible way now. He's pouring with blood. That already had a cut. His face was already badly damaged by an earlier collision, and now it's got worse. It was as Moran jumped to try and make contact with the corner that the cut was made a lot worse. How close can you be to Wembley? But at the same time, if you've already had one disappointment this season, you know you may not be close enough. So, with only 5 minutes of normal time left, Paul McGrath is thrust into his first ever FA Cup tie as a substitute for Kevin Moran, who goes off on a stretcher, keeping his thumb up to say to the others, we're nearly at Wembley. Now, McGrath is being given advice by all the experienced players. He's 23, but he only came into the first team this season, making his debut in a cup match at Bradford. And he will be asked to play alongside Gordon McQueen for what remains of this FA Cup semi-final. His side lead 2-1. Can Arsenal save it yet? Duxbury That was a better clearance, on by Moses. Stapleton needs to touch it back to him. And can the ball be played again to Brian Robson? And now Stapleton. And there are two coming up in support here. Duxbury. It's a question of how much time Keith Hackett sees fit for stoppages, but this is Robson. And Moses! Corner. It was deflected by the defender. Although, given the position there in the Arsenal penalty area, you would have thought Manchester United might have made it safe. Bryans. Stapleton's in there. Moses again. Whiteside couldn't make it. Have Arsenal got something left? Could they still snatch the equaliser? Ricks. Don't forget the match at Leeds. He stumbled. Free kick, is it, or a throw-in? We've played 3 minutes of stoppage time, and Arsenal have one last chance to save it. Kenny Sansom. O'Leary's... It's all over! Manchester United are at Wembley for the second time this season. And Norman Whiteside writes another chapter in their famous history. Ron Atkinson equals the feat of Spurs and Keith Birkinshaw last season. But Norman Whiteside, at the age of 17, has scored the goal, which takes United into the FA Cup final, their fourth in 8 seasons. And as the celebrations start, one looks back 12 months and just tries to take account of what's happened to 17-year-old Norman Whiteside. Ron Atkinson's team came from a goal behind, reversing what happened in the Milk Cup final, playing the better football overall, deserving their victory. 1 down at half-time. Arsenal, it's true, had to make a change then, but Brian Robson, the captain there without the shirt, equalised. Whiteside volleyed a quite memorable winner. And so Manchester United, the club with the biggest following in the world, they say, will be at Wembley in 5 weeks' time for the FA Cup final. Manchester United 2, Arsenal 1.
Well, let's hope the cup final is as good a game as that one. And Arsenal deserve credit for making United pull out all the stops and produce 2 special goals to win the game. United well deserved their victory, as John Motson said, and earned it by total commitment to the cause, an abundance of high-speed skill and no lack of courage, exemplified by Kevin Moran stretched off for yet another sewing-up session with the doctor.
Well, you won't thank me for starting on an injury note again, Kevin, but I've got to ask you first of all how it happened, what happened, and how many stitches this time?
Like, I remember we got a corner and Ashley took it on the left-hand side and he swung it in. And all I can remember was just going for the ball, and I think I collided with Lee Chapman. And I came out the worst of it, but it certainly wasn't his fault. I think I possibly might have clashed into the back of his head. But it was just unfortunate, really. And the outcome has been, I think, 8 stitches.
8 this time. You'd already been cut over the right eye prior to that.
That's right, I just got a little nick, as you can just see, but it was nothing, really.
The left one is going to cause you some problems, or any more pain, or what?
I don't think it's not too much pain to me now. I've had that many, but it'll probably keep me out for at least a week or so, I'd imagine.
A few viewers do write in and ask, why does Kevin Moran get cut so often? Is it because you're braver than other players, or is it just that you're unlucky?
I would have put it down possibly being a bit of both, really. I wouldn't say braver than other players. I think most players do go in for the ball. But I think Frank Stapleton might have put it to me after the game when he says, I might go for balls which aren't mine. You know, and I think it's something that I've got to look into, going for balls which I think other players might have cleared nicely, to be just coming in that fraction bit too late, instead of just holding out and letting it go.
Now, when you started your run to latch on to Ashley Grimes' pass for the equaliser, did you sense that you were going to get ahead of Brian Talbot in that situation?
No, when I first started off, I was thinking of pulling to the back post, but I saw that Chris White was there. And I always thought Brian was going to be favourite to get the ball. But for some reason, he just got on his heels a bit, and it just allowed me just to get in front of him. But once I knocked the ball down, there was no second thoughts. I thought, just strike the ball and hit the target. I was fortunate enough to go in.
And that's exactly what Norman Whiteside did 20 minutes later. I mean, what can you as captain say about this fella?
Well, Norman's had a tremendous year. And I think he showed what a good player he's going to be just by that goal. I mean, it was a class goal. He took it on and he just hit it on the volley. And it was tremendous. I mean, he picked his spot, really. He didn't sort of just hit and hope. I mean, he went for that far corner. It was a great goal.
The thought occurs to me, Brian, that even though he played in the World Cup, before the Milk Cup final, there were people saying, well, was he the right partner for Frank Stapleton? And certain other well-known names were bandied about, weren't they, as possibly coming to Old Trafford.
Yes,
but he really has convinced an awful lot of people, I think, in the last, what, couple of months?
Well, he has. I think Frank's helped him a lot. You know, Frank's a great player, and his composure has rubbed off on Norman Whiteside, and I think Norman's learned from him. Plus, he's got a lot of good players about him. So, you know, Norman's blossomed, and he's done tremendous for a 17-year-old lad.
Brian Robson's tribute to Frank Stapleton. And what a twist of fate. Frank came to Arsenal, a raw-boned, enthusiastic striker who was outstanding in the air. And under the wing of Terry Neal and Don Howe, he developed into probably the best all-round target man, stroke centre-forward, call it what you like, in the game. The skills and composure Arsenal grafted onto Frank ended their own cup dreams yesterday. The first thing a defence man wants when he's clearing like this, Mike Duxbury, is a willing target. That's the first duty of a striker, to be there. And once the ball comes, to make space, take it down well, and look at that deft touch. It looked like only a yard ball, but had it not been so perfect, this whole move couldn't have developed. Frank backs up again, and you see the finesse of that ball forward. In fact, if it got a better bounce than that one, it came back, it might have given Whiteside the chance to get through on the end of that. But finally, he lays it out to Ashley Grimes, and now you can see the main job of a striker: score goals. Frank's coming into the picture at the bottom there, number 9, in case there's a cross or an opportunity to score a goal. And as Brian Robson says, some of that composure is rubbing off on young Norman. Here we see, well, his really inbuilt skill, but produced in the tightest of situations. There it is, left foot flick and a back heel there to Ashley Grimes, who captures the mood and flicks it over again. Really quite a striking force, the young player learning from the not so young. Norman Whiteside and Frank Stapleton, and a manager too to boot.
United's opponents in the final on May the 21st will be Brighton, who'll be walking out at Wembley for the first time in search of their first major trophy. Jimmy Case put them ahead against Sheffield Wednesday at Highbury with a tremendous drive from 30 yards, and after Ante Milicevic equalised for Wednesday, Michael Robinson scored the Brighton winner 12 minutes from time. Aberdeen are through to the Scottish FA Cup final after beating Celtic, but the other team still isn't decided. Now that's because Rangers and St Mirren drew 1-1 in the other semi-final. Archie McPherson is the commentator.
Russell picking up, that's a good ball forward to Bet, there's no offside. Good one this time, it must be. Sandy Clark has scored his first Scottish Cup goal for the club. Clark, McClelland, and it's an own goal, the equaliser. That came off Patterson.
And the replays at Hampden Park on Tuesday. And we hear late this afternoon, in fact, that Aberdeen could be without 4 players for their Cup Winners' Cup semi-final second leg against Watershire in Belgium. Dougie Bell and Neil Cooper are definitely out. Gordon Strachan and Eric Black are doubtful. Aberdeen lead 5-1 from the first leg. Well, considerable opposition is mounting today to the proposed merger between 2 third division clubs, Oxford United and Reading. Now, Robert Maxwell, the publishing millionaire and chairman of Oxford, wants to buy a controlling interest in Reading and form a new club next season called Thames Valley Royals. But it's met with an angry reaction from supporters of both clubs. The Oxford Supporters Club said this afternoon they were, quote, completely against this crazy and unworkable idea from Robert Maxwell. The tradition of friendly rivalry between the clubs will be obliterated with no consultation with the supporters, they say. Well, there's a similar reaction in Reading, where opposition is also being organised today, and among those involved is Roger Smee, a former Reading player, now businessman, who tried to take over the club last autumn. Everyone was shocked by the announcement by Mr Maxwell because apparently it was not discussed by either board, and indeed most of the directors were not even aware of it. Mr Maxwell took control at Oxford 16 months ago when he saved them from extinction just days before they were due to close. But now he says the Thames Valley area cannot support 2 league clubs, but it would support 1. Now, the clubs are about 30 miles apart, and both say their average home gates are not enough to make them financially secure. So Mr. Max wants to merge them and build a new ground and sports complex somewhere between the two. In the meantime, they would play at alternate grounds next season. Well, the Football League has agreed the plan in principle, and if it goes ahead, the league would almost certainly operate with 91 clubs next season instead of the 92 it's had since 1950. Graham Kelly, the league secretary, said it's unlikely a non-league club would be asked to make up the numbers. He said 5 clubs would probably be promoted to the 3rd division this season, leaving the 4th division to operate with only 23 clubs. Now, because that's an odd number, that would mean one 4th division club would have no game and so no income every week. A decision on the merger is expected before the end of this month. 300 Chelsea fans demonstrated after the latest defeat at home to Newcastle left the club in serious danger of relegation to the 3rd division. Some supporters have called for the return of former manager Eddie McCreadie, who resigned under the previous board in 1977 and is now in America. But Ken Bates, the Chelsea chairman, said today there's no chance of McCreadie returning to Stamford Bridge, and he stressed that John Neal would continue as manager for the remaining 5 games, which will decide Chelsea's fate. Well, 2 games played this afternoon, one with great interest to Chelsea there. In Division 2, Charlton 4, Oldham 1. That puts Chelsea down to 5th from bottom, and it's better news for Charlton. They go up 1 place. League Division 4, Stockport 1, Torquay 0.
And while all that cup excitement was taking place yesterday, Southampton were enjoying their game of the season. From a miserable beginning, they've mounted a powerful European challenge, and yesterday's points were perhaps more valuable to them than their opponents Liverpool. Champions surely, but as yet uncrowned. Your commentator is Barry Davis.
Liverpool come to claim their title. It's been theirs for many weeks now, some opinion would say as far back as Christmas. But now, victory at the Dell would once again take the championship pennant to Anfield. The Liverpool side showing the absence of their leading scorer Ian Rush, who has a groin strain, and he's replaced at number 9 by David Fairclough. The Southampton team is that which ended the match at Old Trafford last week, where they drew with Manchester United, except that this time it's David Puckett who's the substitute. Steve Williams, the captain of the side that has been refashioned by Laurie McManamy, the manager. Now the longest-serving manager in the Football League, Laurie McManamy, and he reckons that this is the 5th team he's built here at Southampton. The referee is Brian Stevens of Stonehouse in Gloucestershire. So a lovely spring afternoon with around 1,000 who've come down from Liverpool looking to see their side win the title, but the rest of the crowd hoping that Southampton will take revenge from what was surely their low point of the season, when they were beaten 5-0 at Anfield in September and went to the bottom of the table as a result. And the early free kick, the referee allows it to be taken early. And certainly Johnston didn't like the challenge. Three forward. Away by Chris Nicol. And Hansen beaten by the bounce. Steve Moran looking for Martin Foyle. And Grobbelaar, did he save the corner? Yes, he did. In typical Grobbelaar style. Souness. Hansen. Two good-natured boos for Grobbelaar. David Armstrong. And a chance now for Foyle. And the referee is giving the penalty. Well, it was a rather theatrical piece of play by Foyle. Grobbelaar obviously felt that he made a genuine attempt to go for the ball, but the referee, Brian Stevens, thought otherwise. And the the crowd behind Grobbelaar, quite delighted with the verdict. And a chance for Steve Moran to give Southampton an early lead. And he does so comprehensively. The ball nestling happily in the corner of the goal with Grobbelaar looking the other way. And Southampton have the lead with only 2.5 minutes on the clock. And the Southampton side has changed so much during the course of the season. Indeed, their lineup this afternoon, including only 6 survivors from the opening game of the season. And one has to add to that the fact that they lost 6 regulars from last team almost before a ball was kicked. It was Ronnie Whelan. When Southampton lost at Liverpool, they were really in a very bad state indeed. Indeed, that result put them bottom after 7 matches. Away by Nicol. And there's a clear determination this afternoon from Laurie McMenamin's men to make Liverpool wait for their title. Goal, incidentally, has maintained the record of there always being at least 1 goal in league meetings between these two sides. Still leading a charmed life on that touchline. Here's Danny Wallace, one of the successes of the season for Southampton. Ronnie Whelan, faced by Mark Wright. Kennedy. He gets a great roar from the crowd, but he has been known to score from that range. Good leap by Foyle. Lawrenson, casual. Neil. He's going to get caught surely. Good confidence on the ball from Graham Souness. The captain leading his side into rather dangerous style. Nicol and Mills in each other's way. It was really Nicol's ball. Fairclough, Whelan. Shout about marking came from Laurie McMenamy. Play on this near touchline, and there will now be a free kick from there in Liverpool's favour. Neil coming up on the far side, Johnston just inside him, makes the earlier run. Apparent indecision, I wonder whether that's so. Armstrong. Liverpool have certainly had more of the play since they went behind. And here's Dalglish with a chance to make it 1 each, and he does. May well have gone off right in the end, but I'm sure that Dalglish will claim the goal, and with every justification for doing so. 13 minutes gone. Peter Shilton beaten with the cross shot from Kenny Dalglish. Came finally off right. But Kenny Dalglish's 20th goal of the season. 1-1. Victor maintaining its record of producing goals. Last 3 meetings here produced a total of 14. He took the right decision, Nicol. Fairclough couldn't find what for a moment was an empty goal. Armstrong. Nobody wants to hold the ball at this stage. Lee. Lawrenson. He does. And that's good running again by Souness. Right across Fairclough. And the challenge came from Agboola. Well, that was a real knife-through batter job as far as Souness was concerned, but in the end he left the shot to Fairclough. I wonder on reflection whether he would like to have taken it again, given a second opportunity. Just by letting the ball run across, it did give Agboola the chance to put in a challenge. Free kick, right on the edge of the shadow of the stand. Kennedy, here's Sammy Lee, and here's Johnston, and Peter Shilton is going the other way, and Johnston suddenly found himself in the clear, thanks to the deflection from Sammy Lee's shot. And with 16.5 minutes gone, Liverpool have the lead. 2 goals in under 4 minutes. The crowd certainly getting their money's worth in terms of entertainment. They're presumably, the home supporters, rather disappointed the way the game has gone against their side. It seemed that they were given a gift-wrapped start. Since then, Liverpool have taken all the prizes. Here's Foyle, delayed too long. He didn't have the time where Johnston at the other end did, and how well he took it. Goal kick in the end. And a few problems for the photographers. Williams. It reaches Moran. Wallace in the middle wants it early. Misses it, but Holmes doesn't. 2 apiece. Utter delight from Nicky Holmes. 22 minutes the time of the goal. Built on the right, starting from Steve Williams. The ball finding Moran. And in the end, Holmes was all on his own to tap in. And it's been 3-2 here, twice in the last 3 seasons. I would suspect the final outcome might be even higher than that this time. Liverpool free kick. Timely goal for Southampton, who were very much on the rack. Right. Kennedy. Lee. Pass to the right, denied him. Free kick given against Whelan. Obviously felt it was shoulder to shoulder, and he's very cross with the verdict. Here's Wallace. Williams. Oh, he's done that quite superbly. Took 3 men out. Moran was unlucky. Came off the foot of Lawrenson. Lovely move down the right. And again, it was Steve Williams who started it. Grobbelaar between everybody. Up goes the salmon, and away goes the ball. Nicol. And Holmes is onside. And not a bad try, yes it's in! I say, what a marvellous effort from Nicky Holmes. Found himself onside, with the Liverpool defenders having started to come forward. and thought, why not? I'll give it a go. And the ball nicking in off Grobbelaar's right-hand post. So with just 4 minutes of the half remaining, Southampton are back in front. Referee has one check of the watch, and we've been playing for several seconds, only the time that he's allowed for the odd stoppage. And here's Wallace for Southampton. Foyle in the middle, so is Moran. And Kennedy. So we come to the end of what, to put it mildly, has been a very lively first half, with Southampton leading in under 3 minutes and leading at the end of the half by 3 goals to 2. So Nick Holmes starts the second half looking for the first hat-trick of his Southampton career, and Southampton seeking to be only the 4th side to beat Liverpool in the league this season. Mick Mills. Certainly the defence in front of Peter Shilton had its problems early on in the first half, but they recovered. And Ryan McMenemy hoping that his side can join Ipswich, West Ham and Norwich, the other 3 sides to beat Liverpool in the Championship. Dalglish. Turn. And Whelan, what a good save by Shilton. Ball very cleanly struck. Dalglish starting it. And allowed to turn, got himself going the right way. And the cross ball really well struck by Whelan. And a fine save by Peter Shilton. Williams, Henson. Ball going back a little bit in the wind, which has got a bit stronger, I think. This is Whelan. Also a bit of holding by Gruler. Yes, says the referee. And 3 players around the ball. Kennedy. Souness. Ricochet that time didn't fall kindly as it did to Johnston in the first half. Real chance here for Southampton to break out. Wallace is onside, faced by Grobbelaar, goes past him, but there's cover there, and it was Alan Hansen who got back. I say I always fancied Wallace to be able to get round Grobbelaar, but what he wasn't aware of was the fact that there were 3 men getting behind Grobbelaar to cover the line, and it was Alan Hansen who did so on the near post. Here's Holmes. Away by Neil. Only to right. Williams. Right. He and Williams not together. And here's Mark Lawrence and Craig Johnston down the middle, but it didn't reach him. David Hodgson, the Liverpool substitute. Hanson's got to turn. Handball against Souness. Linesman with perhaps the best view in the ground was able to confirm the shout of the crowd. And David Hodgson is to come on in place of David Fairclough. David Hodgson, who's been troubled by pleurisy, gets back into the action. Liverpool, incidentally, have used only 16 players this season. Williams with the kick. Right! And only just over. Grobbelaar didn't touch it. But was at some stretch to cover. It's the best crowd of the season at the Dell, 23,578. Kennedy still manages it. Forward to Hodgson. Oh, he wanted to go one too many, did he? Yes, he did. He shot in the end with sufficient force to knock Shilton backwards. But he really had no need to come outside his man again, other than for a preference of which was to be the shooting foot. Dalglish. As he looks in, Shilton is complaining at one or two defenders. On by Wallace, and here's Moran. Great appeals for a penalty, which it certainly was not. Dalglish. Kennedy. And Shilton comes to claim. It's safely in the bank. He's full of smiles, but I bet he's still a bit worried inside that the victory might not be gained. But victory it is for the home side. The celebrations will have to wait a little longer at Anfield, because Southampton have become only the fourth team to beat them in the league this season, joining Ipswich, West Ham and Norwich. The decisive goal of the five being the second one scored by Nick Holmes. Southampton 3, Liverpool 2.
What a smashing game that was, and how well Southampton have done to make something of this season after such a poor start. David.
And now a roundup of the important European Championship games played this weekend. Starting in England's group, that's Group 3. Bobby Robson was in Budapest this afternoon to see Hungary beat Luxembourg 6-2. That lifts Hungary into second place, and it's now vital that England beat them when they meet at Wembley on Wednesday week. In Group 5, the World Cup holders Italy are almost certain not to qualify after their 1-0 defeat in Romania in front of 80,000 fans. The winning goal came in the 24th minute from Bollini, who beat Dino Zoff from some distance to confirm the Romanians on top of the table. But the group favourites, Czechoslovakia, convincingly beat no hope as Cyprus 6-0. Enek scored twice for Czechoslovakia, and this was the first.
Well, with two fine matches in the programme today, the week's ended on a high note. Well, that's a blessing. You may have read about Coventry City's acknowledgement that on the threshold of their centenary year, their financial position is critical. And at a time when there's talk of mergers as one means of survival, perhaps it's as well to put that in perspective. Coventry don't figure in the top 30 high overdraft clubs, and the estimated figures indicate that the top 10 debtors coming from the first, second and third divisions owe £22.9 million between them. That's a staggering 2.9 average per club. So a moment's rejoicing about yesterday's splendidly entertaining games will do no harm, especially if it inspires us all to take a leaf from Kevin Moran's book and capture the never say die spirit that he showed for United at Villa Park yesterday. I'm wounded, but a long way from dead. Good afternoon.